Hi, I'm Joe, and it's Wednesday. Or to be more specific, it's Wednesday, as in season 2 of Wednesday on Netflix drops the first half of its season today, and I thought I would show off a couple of Wednesday related builds, which include 2 official Lego sets and 1 Rebrickable model, which includes on the right here the official set, the Lego Wednesday Addams figure set 76780, and the real star of the show here on the left, Mach 198505, the Wednesday Addams Mansion by Artisan, which is a Rebrickable build combined with existing Lego set 76781, which is Wednesday's dorm room. So Artisan published these instructions at the end of last year, and I actually bought them pretty much right away and ordered the parts. So I've actually been sitting on this build for quite a while. My own personal history with Lego haunted houses starts with when I got back into Lego around 2015. Unfortunately for me, the Monster Fighters theme had just ended, so I never got the Monster Fighters haunted house. But one of the first haunted house sets I did get was the Scooby-Doo Mystery Mansion, and that remains one of my favorite sets to this day, and is probably my most built and rebuilt set that I own, because I get it out every year for Halloween. A couple years later, I picked up the Ghostbusters Firehouse, which I don't really see as a haunted house, and I got that more because not only is it a cool build, but I also really like the movie. Then Lego came out with the Fairground Collection haunted house, which is a haunted house from the outside, but on the inside is more of a fairground ride. Then there was the Lego Ideas Hocus Pocus house, but that's more movie specific and not really a true haunted house. Lego did finally come out with a Nightmare Before Christmas set, which isn't a haunted house, but still something I was very happy to see. And for years, people have been submitting Addams Family houses on Lego Ideas, but they've always been rejected. I believe 4 of them have made it to 10,000 supporters, but none of them have ever been made. And then once the Wednesday series came out, I had some hope that there would be something that would be Halloween appropriate, but all we got was an open back dorm room and a buildable figure. But Artisan has come to our rescue and came up with this beautiful looking Wednesday mansion, which is not necessarily a haunted house, but definitely fits the theme and is a perfect companion piece to the dorm room part at the top, which of course that would be the dorm room at the Ravenwood Academy, the Nevermore Academy, where Wednesday is a student and lives with her roommate Enid, who is very colorful, but also a werewolf. So I'm not sure the rest of the building there at the school looks like that, but still, I love the build, and let's get a closer look at it. The first thing I want to point out is that this is a modular compatible building. It sits on a 32 by 32 base plate. That was part of Artisan's instructions. In fact, it's a dark gray base plate, so that's something I actually ordered from Pick-a-Brick. That's another thing I want to mention is Artisan made the parts list for this build available as both a Bricklink and a Lego Pick-a-Brick parts list so that it could be easily uploaded. This was my first attempt to use the upload feature on Pick-a-Brick, and it turned out to be incredibly easy because the list was made. And all it is an Excel spreadsheet with element ID in one column, which is the Lego multi-digit number, and how many of each piece I wanted in the other column. And I was able to upload and get my order placed very quickly. One thing that I did find out, though, as I was building is that there was one piece required that Lego does not actually sell in Pick-a-Brick anymore. And so I made that unpleasant discovery as I got near the end of the build, but I was able to find the piece from one of my other sets. So that ended up not being a big deal. But still, overall, it was a pretty good experience to be able to upload that list and essentially get all of my parts in a single order. I probably might have been able to save some money by ordering on Bricklink. It's just that once you get with a large parts list and you end up with 3, 4, 5 Bricklink carts and shipping fees, those add up pretty quick. And I like to have my parts in as few shipments as possible. But as I said, this is in a modular style. The levels all come off nice and easy. And there are Technic bricks with holes in the right spots on the sides, even though the building doesn't come all the way out. I believe the building was made 28 studs wide to correspond with the 28 studs wide of the official Lego set here. And there's no change to the actual official dorm room set. It just sits on top of the Rebrickable build. We've got the Technic bricks here on the other side also. There's also some interesting technique here to kind of reduce the number of bricks, and it's using these kind of ramp pieces, like road pieces. It looks like they're something like 6 by 8. I'm just kind of counting in my head here, maybe 5 by 8. And these are used for the walls on all sides, at least the sides in the back. This is fully enclosed, obviously. And they do make the build go a lot faster because it's a lot easier to fill in those parts with just these pieces. And we'll look at the inside in a minute. There are just some snot bricks on the inside that are holding these in place. So the only part you're really building up on each level are the corners and the frame for the top and bottom of each floor. The first part we can take off is the top of the roof here. Let me see if I can get that. I have to be careful here. Yep. And it's just a flat bit of roof because, like I said, the dorm room was open back. So Brick Artisan designed a back here for it. And I'll go ahead and take that off. And here you actually get the interior of Wednesday and Enid's room, where Wednesday is the part on the right, which is all of Wednesday's things, which includes the old style phonograph, the cello, the typewriter, which features prominently in the series, and a chair. She doesn't actually have a bed, and this chandelier, but the contrast in personalities is accentuated here because Enid is very colorful and rainbowy and has all these pastel colors. Even though she's a werewolf, she is a very cheerful person and has all kinds of stickered elements here. In the middle here looks like one of those boards for solving a mystery, which is part of what Wednesday Season 1 included. And the most distinctive feature of the dorm room is the colored window with the spider web that Wednesday wanted decorated her way, and Enid wanted it decorated her way, so they each colored half of it. And we turn around, we'll look at it from the front. Another sticker here at the top, and some blue and green pieces here, which, even though Wednesday is not specifically a Halloween show, this definitely is going to fit in real well with a Halloween display. And we've got these little gargoyle pieces. I don't know if I've seen those before. And it comes with mini dolls. I know that's going to turn off a lot of people, but I didn't buy this for the figures. And you've got Wednesday with the distinctive center part in her hair, and Enid, who dresses very much like in the same colors as her room is decorated. And because Lego is Lego, and my guess is they didn't hit the budget when they designed this set, they included some extra features. These pieces here, they're also part of the dorm room set, and there's a little lever here on the side. When I push that, it opens the drawer, and we see we've got extra accessories, including an extra minifigure. There is a scene in the Wednesday series Season 1 where they have to get dressed up a little bit more fancy for a dance. And here are some of Enid's, I guess, more distinctive things. And Wednesday has hers on the other side, which also opens up and shows her in the ball gown and the facial expression. Looks like she is not pleased to be dressed that way, and that would be very consistent with her personality. And I'm not sure what this tile is here. That is a print, I believe. But maybe that's her learning about werewolves or other magical creatures. Here at the Ravenclaw Academy, here at the Ravenwood Academy, here at the Nevermore Academy, there are all kinds of magical creatures, or just say less conforming creatures, or less conforming people who are students there. And there is a new piece that I have never seen before. This is the peony piece, something that was new from the botanical garden, and it's in black. Not that that would have lots of uses outside of, say, Wednesday, or making Gothic style builds, but I found it interesting that it does exist. Before I get into more of the house, we'll just look at the front. The Facade here, I think, is very good looking. You have lots of purple and green and dark pink in the flowers and leaves here. You've got just a regular awning with some columns, more greenery behind the black fence type pieces. And the windows is a technique I really like, where the windows are not flush with the front of the building. They are set back by half a plate using jumper plates. And that's something I first experienced when building the Ghostbusters firehouse. Although that set has double layered walls, so it was much easier to do that there. But this just involves using jumper plates, and it sets back the window just a half a stud or half a plate. No, half a stud. And you can kind of see where it is recessed up here, but you don't want to press too hard on that because there's nothing connecting the top part of that window. So it'd be very easy to just tap it and push it in. Then we've got a few lantern type pieces here. Those are just clear minifigure heads, but they are always a nice addition, especially if I wanted to put lights in the set, and maybe I will. But the reason I'm focusing so much on the outside here is there's actually nothing on the inside. There is no interior to the main building. That is left to your own creativity to add your own decorations or anything else you want to add to Wednesday's house. I haven't seen enough of the Addams Family TV show to know what to put in there, but I'm certain some of the more creative builders could probably build a pretty cool interior. So the dorm room piece also just comes off, and it goes down to about here. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. And I said the inside was empty. There are stairs. Rick Artisan did think enough to leave stairs, and I should have shown the back here of the roof part here. There's also stairs to get into the dorm room, along with a gap. And by the way, this 4x6 lavender piece here was the one that Lego does not sell in Pick-a-Brick. So I've actually already ordered one off of Bricklink to replace the one I stole out of another set. But here on the inside, there's nothing going on. It's just blank, ready for you to decorate as you see fit. Here you can see those snot bricks that are used to hold those ramp pieces in place. So using those pieces enables you to use just 3 parts to cover an 8x10 area of wall. The back wall is kind of the same. This part here was a little bit tricky because you have the hole in the floor for the stairs from the previous floor. And speaking of the previous floor, let's see if I can get this up. Sorry, I had to use the other hand there for a minute, but it still came off easily enough. And the bottom floor looks just like the one above it. Again, with the snot bricks there to hold on the big pieces of wall. And you've got the windows and door in the front. So all in all, I'm very happy with how the Wednesday Mansion came out. I think it's going to look great with my other Halloween displays. It's not specifically a haunted house, but it definitely is going to fit the look. I'll take a quick look here at the other Wednesday set, which was the Wednesday figure, which was not something I was intending to get, but it was on sale recently, and there was a gift with purchase involved. And since my wife and daughters like the Wednesday show, I thought, why not? It's a buildable figure, and in this case, you can see she's built up just as she is in the main mini doll here in the dorm room set, with the hairstyle with the part down the middle in the regular school uniform. We have some larger brick-built props from the TV show, starting with the typewriter, which is much bigger. And then we have Thing here, who is actually probably to scale for this particular set, because Thing is just a disembodied human hand. And there are special pieces here to use for the Wednesday figure's hand. But the same Thing piece is also used in the dorm room, except it's comically large compared to the size of the mini doll's hands. Behind the typewriter, you've got candles, one coming out of a skull. On the other side, you've got a gravestone for Nero, who was Wednesday's pet scorpion, who was seen in a flashback in the show. And you've got what looks like a crystal ball. I have watched the show, but I don't remember specifically where the crystal ball fits in. And then you have the lanterns here and a gate. And I like how Lego has used a variety of pieces, including sausages and hockey sticks here, to make this wrought iron looking gate at the top for the Nevermore Academy. Some of the smaller decorations are interesting. We've got that peony piece again in black, and then we have some leaf pieces here in colors I never dreamed would be needed. And it's hard to tell on the build. I have some other pictures, but these leaves here, they are not black. They are a mix of trans black and dark pearl gray. You can kind of see the combination, like the top here, that's one of the trans black, and that's one of the dark pearl gray down there at the bottom, along with the peony piece in there. And again, that's a piece I'm not sure will have much use beyond this particular theme, but it would be interesting to see what else would be built with that. And this large base here is not empty. There is a special key here. It doesn't turn, you just pull it out, because when it's in, it locks these drawers in, and you see you've got a ton of extra pieces. And that's so you can actually rebuild Wednesday, the figure, into a different style. It's hard to see the pieces because, surprise, surprise, they're all black. You know, Lego Batman might be a big fan of this set. But essentially, you have to take apart the existing Wednesday figure, mix the pieces from this build with the pieces in this build, because the way the set was set up, the first 4 bags of the set build the base and everything around it, and bags 5, 6, and 7 are used to build the Wednesday figure. This version of Wednesday is built with bags 5 and 6. The other version is built with bags 5 and 7, and essentially these 2 drawers are the contents of bag 7. Now, if you forget how to build the other version of Wednesday, in a sticker on the back, Lego has conveniently provided a QR code to get the instructions. However, this QR code leads you to the terrible Lego Builder app, which does what seems like a 30-second animation for each individual step, so you would never actually get the other Wednesday built. So I'm going to use the more old-fashioned alternative. I just kept the instructions handy. So let's see if we can speed build the other Wednesday. Never a good sign when you can't find the piece for step 1. So this is the other Wednesday build. It took me just under a half an hour of real time to get her built. I had a couple of spare parts that I wasn't expecting. There were 2 extra 1x2 black plates, which may have been included intentionally, but I went through the instructions repeatedly to make sure that I didn't miss a step. But this is Wednesday in the ball gown with the hair done up with these little half-round bricks to simulate curls, and these other little horn pieces to simulate like the strands of hair down the side. She still has the signature part down the middle, and the dress is just the same build in 8 parts, and every other part has one of those trans black leaves on it. So that's the alternate build, but I'm probably going to revert it back to the original, as the ball gown portion of the show only takes up a small part, and the more typical Wednesday look is just in the school uniform with, again, just the plain straight hair with the part down the middle. Thanks for stopping by to check out my Wednesday builds. I hope you enjoy the show if you are a viewer. I know my wife and daughters were very big viewers back in 2022 when the first season was on. It remains to be seen whether there'll be time for them to watch it immediately anyway, with all the extracurricular activities going on. It may be something they binge during fall break. But I'm happy to have these sets. They will blend in perfectly with my Halloween display, provided I have enough shelves to actually put everything up, because that's becoming a question. The height of the Wednesday mansion is a little bit challenging because I don't really have that much vertical space on many shelves, but I'm sure I can find a way to make it work. So whether you watch the show or not, I hope you enjoy your Wednesday. And remember, today is a good day to build.